I have ranked many weapons in Project Zomboid and Kenshi, but now it is time to bring this ranking to RimWorld as well. Today we're going to be starting with ranged weapons, so basically all the guns, the grenades, and also the spears and bows that are used by tribespeople. I'm ranking all these weapons as if they're all the same normal quality and how they compare to each other, and keep an eye out for melee weapon ranking as well, because I'm going to be doing that next, so the video should be coming up soon after this one. So let's begin. First on the list we have the assault rifle. Assault rifle is a great, amazing all-around weapon from early to late game. You can use it basically against everything. It's got a decent range, it's got a decent damage, it's got decent armor penetration, it's pretty fast. It's great all-around weapon that you or people can use, and for that, assault rifle goes into S tier. Next we have the auto pistol. This is one of the early game pistols that you might use early on when you don't have anything else, but otherwise it's not that very useful. It's got accurate short range, but the damage is pretty subpar, so we're gonna put auto pistol in C tier. Next we have the bolt action rifle. This is one of the starting weapons you might start with if you go for the standard start. It's very, very good for hunting animals. It's got decent armor penetration and decent damage if you use it for a bit longer range, but it's a bit too slow really for fighting people. Maybe in early fight it's gonna be pretty good, but later on it gets outclassed, so we're gonna put this one into B tier. Next we have the chain shotgun. This one has good damage. It's really fast, but it's terrible accuracy, and it's pretty short range is kind of the downfall of this one. Really the accuracy is the one that really kind of kills it, but it's really fast. So if you have enemies coming at you and you have somebody that is really good at shooting, that can aim really well, it could be useful, but otherwise some other guns would be better. We're gonna put this one into B tier as well. Then we have the charge lance. This one can really annihilate people from pretty decently long range and can just take off limbs of raiders. So for that it's really great, but it's quite slow if you want to use it in like a bigger fight where you have people coming at you and charging at you. It's not that good in that regard. So for like base defense or something like that. It's also very expensive to make and you need quite a lot of research to make it, so I'll put this one into B tier, but it's kind of a top of B tier in my opinion for just its damage alone and the ability to just destroy if it hits. Then we have the charge rifle. This is kind of the peak of things. It is an improved assault rifle, but it does have worse accuracy and it does have shorter range. It deals more damage though, but it has better armor penetration, so it definitely goes into S tier up here with the assault rifle. If you want to pick two weapons to have for pretty much all of your pawns defending your base, I would go with these two when it comes to range weapons. They will destroy, but of course charge rifles are pretty expensive to make or to buy, so it's gonna take a while before you can equip your people with them. Next we have Doomsday rocket launcher. Yes, the name tells you everything. It's incredibly dangerous in the arms of some raiders that are coming for you. You really want to prioritize killing those guys first that are holding this around. Now for you, not that very useful, because defensively, if you use this in defense of your colony, you're just going to destroy half of your colony, maybe even damage some of your own people, because the blast radius is just giant. It can be situational and can be used against mechs invading you, or maybe popping some mech clusters. So for that it can be useful, but otherwise it's really dangerous in hands that are not used to it. Next we have EMP grenades. These things are very situational and they're used against two things. If you have lots of melee enemies coming at you and they have the shield belts, you can use this to pop the shield belts so you can then shoot them from afar. Of course you need to be pretty close range to use them, so it could be dangerous and you might just get one bomb off before they charge and chop you up, so that could be pretty unfortunate. Also you can stun centipedes and other mechanoids with them. For that can be extremely good as well, but again, short range. The blast radius is pretty good though. It's situational, but very useful. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Now, pretty much the same thing goes for the EMP launcher that we have next. It has two differences. It got longer range, so you can stand from further away and shoot, but it does have a smaller blast radius. So if you miss, you know, you might not be able to stun the max, and they might charge at you with melee weapons if you're fighting people that have EMP shields. So I'm gonna put this one into B tier as well. These two are close together. They're both very situational, but extremely useful against the targets they're meant for. Next we have Frag Grenades. These can be very dangerous in the hands of raiders and in hands of your own colonists. They have very short range, but they're extremely volatile and explosive. They'll do a lot of damage. So very often you'll see raiders throwing this and damaging their own people. Don't do the same to your colonist. I would say try to avoid them unless you really need to use them in a situation, maybe throwing them at max or something like that, but they're extremely short range, so you know, if you get this close to max, you might be in extreme danger. So I'm gonna put these ones into C tier. Not too amazing, very dangerous, use with caution. Next we get to the first of the bows. We have the Great Bow. This is extremely slow weapon used by tribespeople, and you know, if you do a Neolithic start, you will have to use bows like this. Unfortunately, it's Neolithic. While it does good damage, you know, and it's got pretty decent accuracy for long range weapons, it's very slow, and you know, compared to guns, is just F tier, unfortunately. Next we have Heavy SMG. This bad boy's got some good penetration and deals some very decent damage. It is very short range, unfortunately, and you know, the accuracy above short ranges are, you know, start to drop off pretty significantly. But you know, it's pretty fast, so if you have enemies coming straight at you, maybe in your kill box or something like that, you can spray and pray at them and you'll do some very decent damage, even if they have armor. So I'm gonna put this bad boy into A tier. Next we have the Incendiary Launcher. This bad boy sets stuff on fire and causes chaos. Doesn't really do much damage, you know, but it sets people on fire, which means they won't really be able to fight you. It can't really be used against mechs because they're immune to fire. It's really best not to be used in combat. It's better to use other guns. I'm gonna put it in the C tier. I don't think it belongs to be anywhere above that, but if you really want to just mess up some raiders, then use this. Next we have the LMG. This thing does a lot of damage. It's very good. It's very comparable to assault rifle. The only thing that it has a problem with, it's got worse accuracy. I even think it's got like better DPS than assault rifle, but because the accuracy is lower, you will never get as much output of it as well. But it still deserves to be like almost S tier, but definitely like top of A tier. Very good weapon. Next we have Machine Pistol. This is a spray and pray weapon. It shoots really fast in smaller bursts, and you're just gonna, you know, you close your eyes and you just spray and you hope you hit something. The accuracy is not very good. But this is a really good weapon if you want to train your trigger happy pawns, especially if they have a passion for shooting. You'll be gaining a lot of XP using that. So it's good as a training weapon, but you know, eventually it will get outclassed by other weapons out here. So B tier, still pretty decent. Next we have the minigun. While it looks cool and it looks like it shoots a lot, it's one of those trap weapons. It's really terrible with accuracy. The accuracy is really low. It's gonna just spray around and do damage to pretty much everything else but the pawn you're trying to target. It's a trap weapon, and I don't think it belongs to be anything above a C tier, so we'll put it in there. Next we have Molotov cocktails. This is, you know, same-ish as the launcher of big old flames. It causes chaos if you're using it in combat. Really, this is better used for burning large piles of corpses and not actually in combat. If you really want to do some chaos, then sure, but still C tier. Next we have Pila, one more of the Neolithic weapons. The tribespeople will use this, and don't underestimate the potential of damage this does. It's basically a thrown spear, and if it hits and it goes past your armor, it's gonna devastate you. This thing can do extreme amounts of damage, but it's also extremely slow. So be careful when you phase them, but also if you have to use them, you know you're kind of screwed, or you know you're doing the Neolithic thing or the Lost Tribe thing. So really, It doesn't go above F tier, you don't really want to use it, but still don't underestimate the damage it can do if it actually hits. Next we have the pump shotgun. This bad boy, you know, kind of like the chain shotgun, it's extremely short range, but unlike it, it's got very good accuracy in that short range and it can do a lot of damage. So raiders that come close to you, they can do some serious damage actually hitting you with this. But, you know, when you're defending your colony, you're better off designing your place in such a way that you will have the range advantage and you won't need the pump shotguns. A decent weapon otherwise, but nothing too amazing. We're gonna put it into B tier. Next we have the Recurve Bow. This is another Neolithic weapon. It's, to be honest, it's the best out of all of these Neolithic weapons. If you really can't get your hands on a gun, sure, use that. It's not the best, but it will serve you for a bit. We're gonna put it into C tier. Next we have the Revolver. This bad boy is a slower version of the auto pistol, but it does have better AP and it deals more damage. While it is slower, you know, if it hits, because it's more accurate, it's more likely to hit, it's gonna do some better damage. So I'm gonna put this one into like very low B tier, but it's still above the auto pistol. So if you're, you know, using pistols for some reason, because you're probably early game or something like that, I would say choose Revolver, unless you have like a trigger happy pawn that can get more out of this weapon. The last of the Neolithic weapons, we have the short bow. You know, unlike the great bow, this one has better accuracy from short range, but still, it's a bow in a game where enemies can have Doomsday rocket launchers and there's crazy mechs falling from the sky. Really not the thing you want to use. We're gonna put it in your F tier. Next we have a very situational weapon. This is the smoke launcher. It doesn't actually do any damage, just like the EMP weapons don't do any damage. It's once again very situational, but less useful than these two. Basically what it does, it's gonna shoot some smoke, so the accuracy of any ranged people are gonna be lowered and the turrets won't be really able to lock on you. So these things can be useful if you have a very melee heavy squad and you have ranged people attacking you. You shoot this into them, they're gonna have lowered accuracy, and then you charge them with your melee people. Or if you're trying to charge an enemy base that has turrets, then you can shoot the turret with this and use that. Very situational, you rarely use this. So I'm gonna put it out here in the C tier. You know, in the right hands, in the right situation, it could be very useful, but very rarely so. Next, we have the sniper rifle. This bad boy has the greatest range of all the weapons in the game, so very useful for that. It deals a lot of damage as well, and it's perfect for triggering enemy sieges. You know, if you don't want to rush them, you can maybe shoot them from afar, maybe thin their numbers, or if you want to like maybe wake up some sleeping mechs and hope that they will attack some other raiders that are on the map causing issues, all kinds of stuff like that. But for like base defense, when you have your own kill box or something like that, it's not that useful because it has very slow rate of fire. You know, it's a slow weapon. And it has short accuracy, so if the enemy is coming closer to you, it's gonna be a bit of a problem. It's great if you have one or two, you know, just sniping from afar, really good rangers that will do that. It's good, but I would never mass them, you know, for base defense. Still a great weapon. I'm gonna put it into A tier. Last but not least, we have the triple rocket launcher. It's another single-use big old weapon, just like the Doomsday rocket launcher, but this one fires 3 rockets instead of just the one giant one like this one does. So the spread can be, you know, more crazy. If you're using this yourself, it can be pretty inaccurate. You know, if you want to shoot just one spot, maybe better, you know, Doomsday might be better if you want to try to destroy something, but still very dangerous in the hands of the enemy. Kill those guys that are wearing this instantly if you can. You know, they should be your priority target. It could be useful against bigger mech groups or maybe mech clusters, but otherwise in base defense, it's maybe better not to use it. We're gonna put it out here in the C tier with the other explosives. And here we go. There's our ranking. Well, let me know what you think. Let me know what you would put into A tier, what would you put into F tier. How many of my choices do you disagree with? And as I said previously, there's going to be a melee weapon ranking coming up soon, so go check that one out as well as it comes. And for now, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.